Hello, I'm Justin Smith, and this is going to be my second attempt at a ride-through commentary video. Today, I'm going to be commentating on my Splash Mountain video, which, as of today's date, has 2.9 thousand views. And if you haven't heard, Splash Mountain is actually closing next month, so what better time than to do a ride-through of a commentary of this ride-through? So what's interesting is that, I've gotten a lot of comments sort of like pleasantly surprised when I took this back in October about and posted it in November about, oh my gosh, the lighting's so great. It's great that they're finally starting to repair it. But this is actually a couple of trips I've sort of edited together, like more like 3 times. So like this opening shot of where I go through the queue line, I was actually it was shot in September. I was going to Haunted Mansion Holiday on its opening day, and it actually broke down. So I thought, you know what? I don't really have any video of the queue line for Splash Mountain. So I just, with nothing to do and being there at 9 o'clock with Haunted Mansion temporarily going through technical difficulties, I figured, heck, why not go through Splash Mountain? So that's what you're seeing here. And then I cut through this video of another time. So you're seeing multiple times here. I'm going through the queue line, yada, yada, yada. And yeah, I mean, what's so interesting about the queue line, I try to get, as many of like the sayings. The queue line's sort of the only part of the ride that's themed to the live action segment of Song of the South. The rest, of course, the ride itself is really only based on the animated segments, but for posterity's sake, I wanted to try to get as much as the queue line as possible. But it's also kind of difficult because, when you're in queue line, you're technically in line and, you want to try to get the people behind you to go in front of you in line so you can capture it. But, it's just sort of an awkward position. I do have a lot of photographs of these things, and in hindsight, looking back on it, I sort of wish I just put the still photographs in here. But the ride's still here. Maybe I can do that for another video. Yeah, I was also shooting on an older iPhone at this time. I wish, I got some of this footage in high definition. Yeah, and so this is actually the second time I rode this ride. I was going through the single rider line. So this is why I have this shot where I'm sort of above the lines, because if you don't know, the single rider line sort of has you going through the exit, and then you're in this sort of ramp where you're going above the log ride, which is what you're seeing right now. So that's why, earlier there was like no line, and then here there's an actual line. I want to try to, capture this ride from as many angles as possible. To be honest, I think this, part, the actual ride footage, most of it was, shot in 2021. So, a lot of this footage, it's going back from 2021 footage to 2022 footage. Yeah, because, in terms of, lighting and the animatronics, I sort of went back and forth to get the best possible lighting and the best possible capture of the animatronic footage as much as I possibly could. Yeah, this footage, I believe you can see the Brer Rabbit, the front of the log, so I was actually front row for this ride where I got soaked. I was also trying to be careful of, getting my phone from getting too wet. Yeah. And of course, when you're trying to do a ride through, you want to try to capture both sides of the ride. So that's why, I cut through that, the left side and then the right side here. So the right side, I want to try to get, the cane syrup and the molasses, I wonder if that's a nod to Brer Rabbit molasses cookies. And then, of course, you got to capture that owl. I love that owl, that animatronic owl. And, the hoo, 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 hoo. I, dream about that owl. And then this cuts to, Yeah, like this footage, like I was in the back of the log, so you can even overhear like a woman in front of me with a family. It's like the girls are excited, and the boy in the back, you know. So she was referring to me. It's funny, you know. Yeah, I've been, you know, because of that single rider line, I've been on Splash Mountain maybe more times than any ride. Like it's getting up there. Like my go-to fave. There was a time when I was like a little kid, like I loved going on Star Tours. That was my go-to ride, and then Mr. Toad's go-to. But with Splash Mountain, a single ride, and you know, getting an annual pass as an adult, Splash Mountain would be a go-to ride. I would go on again and again and again. So I've been on this ride so many times. Speaking of Star Tours, like when they were building Star Wars Land, this would be a cool ride to like go on to try to get photos of the construction area. Because I know a lot of people were going on Tarzan's treehouse. I would go on here. There's even like one time I took when I was going through the big drop in the photo, I did like a Vulcan salute as sort of a joke. Like it's Star Wars, of course it's not. It's Star Trek, but you know I was sort of teasing around. Yeah, there's Brer Bear, who of course infamously that his snore is used from the back when it was Bear Country. And then they rethemed it to Brer Bear. It's kind of funny they have pumpkins here. You know, this was around Halloween time I was going on, and then you know it's like, oh, they decorated for Halloween, but the pumpkins are always there. So yeah, and there was one goose that didn't actually even work when we drove in. So yeah, so it's sort of the effects are sort of mixed. Yeah, I mean, usually a good trick for Splash Mountain is go at night, because when you go at night, the animatronics and the lighting tends to be the best. Whereas, you know, I had to go on this like twice because a lot of times recently, Brer Rabbit and Brer Turtle, like you couldn't even see, like you would need to turn the light on your iPhone on to see them. Thankfully, I think this was from, again, early like 2021 time. I think they fixed it at night too, where you could just see it better. So again, this is multiple times I've edited this ride, so I've taken edited to try to get the best version possible. I think one of these times is actually me going on at night just so I could get better clips of the animatronics. Like, yeah, this is probably the hardest part getting up, was getting a good video of Bear's butt, and you know, going through the laughing place with the bees, because the bees are just so hard to see without, I guess, using your flash on your phone. If you go at night, that's the best way to see the beehives. But yeah, I mean, I just did the best with what I could. I could probably, you know, do flash, but it's hard to go on it when it's just by yourself. At least Brer Bear is sort of moving this time I went on. Here's the America Sings character singing Everybody's Got a Laughing Place. The dog that, you know, he spins around the boat, he hasn't worked since at least the parks reopened from COVID. So, you know, we only got a month to go, so I'm sort of worried we're never gonna get that dog to work. Here's the big drop. Should have gotten more footage of that possum singing. I actually have more footage. I may create another video, so be on the lookout for that. Yeah, try to, you know, capture this rabbit singing as much as possible. Who, fun fact, you know, when it opened, apparently she sang Sooner or Later from the movie Song of the South. So we had 4 Song of the South songs, you know, including the 3 we hear in the ride. But Sooner or Later doesn't really fit the big drop. It doesn't really fit the big tension in the ride. So I'm, even though it would have been cool to see just to have seen it, I can't say they really made a mistake not having Sooner or Later the song in the ride. Glad to see the shadow effects works. There's the hidden Mickey. Very hidden. Ironic. And there's a nice view of, Disneyland. It just so happened that the Mark Twain riverboat was going by when I was on this ride, got so wet. I love this little walkway that's sort of in between the restaurant, and that's sort of between Rivers in America and the walkway through Splash Mountain. So that's why I have these sort of the aspect ratio changes right here, and because I just like walking through. You hear that very calm jazz rendition of Zippity Doo Dah. I just love going through there, and that I may miss that the most of all the Splash Mountain changes that will go. Da, da, da. Yeah, I should probably talk about the changes to the ride and the movie. What do I think about it? I'm sort of at peace with it. When they announced it, I was really, really, really upset they were going to change it because, it's just one of the top 5 best rides in the whole park. I love the music, the animatronics. It's so perfect. And in my opinion, Princess of the Frog is not a very good movie. It's kind of average. I obviously Song of the South is controversial for a number of reasons, but you don't really need to have been on it to have seen the movie to enjoy the ride. And I feel like that's sort of getting lost with current corporate Disney culture. You think people are just think that everything has to be tied into a brand, has to tied into a hit movie. I'm very kind of proud that I decided to edit, Disneyland Railroad footage of Splash Mountain into this. I think it differentiates from other ride-through videos out there. Love Mr. Bluebird. Maybe my favorite character in Song of the South. Brer Fox with the alligator. Yeah, for the longest time, Splash Mountain was the only ride I got evacuated. When I was a little kid, I got evacuated from this part of the ride. I got it stopped during the big drop and then it worked again. And then this part of the ride, I remember as a kid walking past that Brer Rabbit figure. I just remember as a little kid wanting to bend down and take him home. Who knows, maybe nowadays, they'll put Brer Rabbit for an auction. At this moment in time, I don't have tons and tons of money, but, when I hit it big, become a big celebrity with millions of dollars, I would love to have that Brer Rabbit animatronic to fulfill a childhood memory. So yeah, about the changes, again, the ride itself is really not offensive. I get why they're changing it, but it's just a shame that I think that the ride has sort of got caught up in this cultural war issue that, it doesn't really deserve. And, it doesn't help that there are a lot of Twitter accounts out there. There's a lot of people out there who made it a brand to sort of be, to be anti-racist. And if they're not calling out racism, how are they going to get likes, clicks, and tweets, retweets, all that stuff? So, yeah, I feel like it sort of gets targeted unfairly. Most people love this ride, never had a problem with the ride, and got caught up in a cultural war issue. And it's sad to see it go. Imagineers are very talented people. I hope they don't completely screw up the Princess and the Frog thing, Again, I don't think any of the songs in Princess and the Frog are as catchy or memorable as Zippity Doo Dah, so I'm just gonna say they're gonna have a lot, to live up to. But here's hoping for the best. I'm gonna try to patch this ride one more time during the night, and I hope you've enjoyed this commentary track. I don't know what more to say. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you continue to like and subscribe to my channels, and I'll try to post more ride through videos. So, in the meantime, have a zippity doo dah day.